So how do you schedule your sales team's day? Well, no matter how your team is structured, there are only two operating modes, right? You have as a salesperson. You have hunting and killing. And hunting basically means you find new opportunities, new leads, you do outbound, you do cold calls, you send your DMs, you send your emails, right? You just find more people. You hunt. And then the second mode is killing. So the opportunities you found during the hunting phase, you now go for the kill, which means you go for the close. You try to close them. You get money from them. You do sales calls, you do follow-ups, right? On overdue payments, on agreements, stuff like that. Fundamentally, hunting is more important because without hunting, you can't do the other thing. All right. So killing is reliant on hunting, which means every minute that your team doesn't spend on killing or closing should be spent on hunting new opportunities. Other than this, you have certain SOPs that need to be completed at certain times in the day, right? For example, you have like a daily report SOP if you want something like that, where at the end of the day they just send a message or something, right? Or you have a pipeline review SOP where they look at their pipeline, they do it once a week or once every 2 weeks on Friday at 4 p.m. because no one picks up the phone anymore. Okay. And so for those, there's three things. First, you write the time that they should do it in the SOP itself, in the first step. All right. You can literally write, make sure it's Friday, 4 p.m. Step one. Second thing is you make them schedule these SOPs as an event in their calendar, or you schedule it for them. And if you're using like Google Calendar, like most people, then you can actually link the SOP document in the calendar event. So they get the notification, they click on their calendar, and they just click on the SOP and they know what to do. Okay. And fortunately, you need to regularly check up if they're actually doing it, because sometimes people just don't. And again, there's a reason why people don't do things you tell them to do, which I'll get into the like management section of this video. But those are the three things, right? By the way, as a note, and this is important, it's your job to connect following the SOP step by step perfectly to I make more money in your sales reps' minds. And you do that doing two things. You publicly praise them when they follow a process perfectly. Publicly meaning in your like sales team meetings, you actually shout out people who did the thing right, because everyone likes public praise. That's just how humans work. And you pay them a lot of money. Sounds simple. I'll tell you more on this in the commission section, but it has to do with incentives and stuff like that. And so if they do these four things, then you onboarded them successfully, because the percentage of similarity to the winning process, to the KPIs you got earlier, will be as close as possible to 100%, which is great. That's what we're trying to do. The speed aspect, so the second part of the equation, just comes down to how well you manage to write all of this down and how clear you make it. The clearer you make it, the better they're going to understand it, and the faster they're going to understand it, which means if you use simple words and like explain from first principles, then they're going to understand it better, which means you can like feel free to copy parts of this document. By the way, if you want this whole document, you can click the third link in the description, number 3, and you just get it for free, right? Just enter your email and I'll send it over to you. Anyways, so what I saw works best is just having a simple like sales playbook. So a written document like you see it here, where you explain everything front to end and then you give it to them when they join. Just say like, that's the first action you do. Here's the playbook, read it. And you put action items in between, right? So they learn one thing and then they implement it. They learn the next thing, they implement it, stuff like that. The more time you spend on writing a solid sales playbook for your team, the better it will do. And by the way, don't worry about like separating it by function. So making one for SDRs, one for closers. Just put it all in one, because every SDR wants to be a closer at some point. Even if they don't, it helps to understand the process a salesperson goes through, right? The whole onboarding should take less than 1 week, or 1 week max, right? After that, you should just send them into the battlefield, make them do their job, because the most things, like if you have an SDR, they're going to learn the most when they actually just do calls and mess up. All right. So don't hesitate, right? You need to give them what they need, obviously, but once they have it, don't delay and don't drill them on product knowledge for 3 weeks. That's just a big waste of time. All right. You don't need a 4-week onboarding.